What is up, YouTube? You're watching Tabletop Dad, and this is 10-minute terrain. Now, we had a thunderstorm roll through last night, and with a maple tree in your backyard, you are never short on a few extra pieces of debris. All right, well, we got our sticks collected, and now our next step is put them in the oven and sanitize them. Now we're going to preheat our oven to 195 degrees. Once that's ready, we're going to throw them in the oven. Okay, now that our sticks are out of the oven, we are going to take our other pieces to use to assemblies. We've got some faux moss stones from the dollar store, our standard wash, some random pieces of copper just for extra weight, a hot glue gun or tacky glue, an extra screw to help make a starter hole in the moss stones, some garden shears or scissors, and a hobby knife. Okay, before we start to assemble, first we need to determine our scale. If you're using this for Warhammer 40K or other skirmish type games, you may want taller barricades. I am going to be using this for wilderness or outdoor excursions for D&D, so I'm going to use a D&D scale, basically a 1 inch to 5 foot scale. So I'm going to make each one of these pieces about 3 inches tall, except for about 3 or 4 I'm going to make 3.5 inches. Once you determine your scale, you can begin to start cutting your planks. And then they do not all have to be the same length if you don't want them to be. A little rustic can look nice. Again, it depends on what you're also going to be using it for. Now, this is one of the ones I'm going to use for the 3.5. I will set those off to the other side. Okay, so I've got roughly 4 inches of upper slats, and then I have 4 of our 1/2 inch longer pieces over here. Now we need some 2-inch pieces for our side slats. Now again, these don't need to be perfect. Okay, so we're gonna need roughly about 9 for our 4-inch section. So that's 8 and 9. Okay, I cleaned off our workspace a little bit, put our extra sticks off to the side here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take out the 2 end pieces, and then we're going to substitute in 2 of our longer pieces here. Take our hobby knife and trim off any knots that are protruding extremely far, so that way we have a smooth surface to mount the side slats on. So we will take our hobby knife and just ever so nicely kind of flick it at the end to give us a rustic point, almost as if it was carved by an axe. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but that adds a nice bit of realism to the piece. And I will go ahead and do that for all of them. Okay, now that we got all those shaved off, we're going to move on to the side reinforcement slats, and we're going to shave off about 1 or 2 millimeters all the way down to give us a flat spot along the whole face of it, almost like if they were to use a hand plane to make it straight. Just like this. Now what this is going to do is give us a flat surface to mount to our vertical slats. That's what she should look like. So we're going to go ahead and do that to all 9 of those, and then move on to the next step. And that's what they look like when they're ready. And we will move on to getting these lined up. Make sure the bottoms are all even except for the 2. We're actually going to bounce those 1 in. So in case you want to use multiples of these in a line, you can do that, or make 90-degree turns. Depending on how many of these you want to build, you can make all kinds of different shapes and sizes. Okay, so now we got these all straightened out, lined up, level on the bottom. We're going to take our shaved side slat and apply some hot glue to them. Straight down the back, We're going to apply those on the back side. Give it a few seconds to set. Move on to the next one. We're going to repeat this process 3 times up the sides. Okay, now that's what it looks like after all 6 up the side have been put on. Now we're going to go ahead and put 3 more on, alternating up the middle. And our last one. Perfect. Okay, now we flipped it over and we can see that we have just some few gaps in here of daylight. What I'd like to do is take some tacky glue, drip it over those areas, let it flow down in there, and then take our shavings that we got from trimming off all the pieces to make our points and our flat spots, and we'll go ahead and sprinkle those over there to seal up those open spots there. As you can see, I've got a nice liberal amount of the tacky glue spread all over the face there. Don't need to be afraid, it dries clear. And we're going to come back and sprinkle our shavings. Work them down into the crevices. Perfect, just like that. Then we can go back and use one of our extra branch pieces here just to go up the face of some of those boards. Clean up our points. Perfect. All right, I'm even going to go back with the hobby knife and just kind of go down in between here. Very nice. Just like that. And now before we let this dry, we're going to go ahead and cover the entire piece, even while the tacky glue is wet, because it'll take some of the pigment in as well, with our standard wash. Just cover the entire piece. That'll give it kind of a dirty old look, more realistic, especially on those points that we shaved. We don't want them to look like they were shaved today. And then we'll just set that off to the side to dry. Okay, while we're waiting for that to dry, we're going to go ahead and grab our faux moss stones now. Now, I just used my hobby knife and cut all the way around on the horizon, and that's what she looks like. And then we're going to take that extra screw that we brought along, and as you can see, I already made the holes, but we're going to screw those in. They go nice because they're self-tapping. Screw them in, widen them out just a little bit. We want them kind of tight. And then from the back side, we're going to drop in some hot glue. These are styrofoam, so it will melt a little bit. Go ahead and do both of them. Let it flow down in there. Then we're going to take our piece. We're going to insert and twist and spread out that hot glue. Do the same with the other side. Insert, twist, spread it out. We're going to cover those up anyhow with our random pieces of copper. Take one each of our pieces of copper here, drop some hot glue on, lay those right down over top of where our stick came through. Pick off any extra wisps that might be on, and as you can see, our glue's about all set up too, and that is a nice, sturdy scatter terrain piece for a city or rustic village wall, orc encampment, outpost, whatever you would like to, how you would like to incorporate that into your storyline. Now, to fill that gap that's in there is very simple. We can do the same thing with another piece of the faux moss stones, cut it in half again for a third one, and then it'll slot right in there nicely. Or you can incorporate it into your story somehow. Maybe it's a sewer system underneath the fencing. Now the best way to do this is just to run some hot glue right down our ridge here and set our third moss stone into place. Grab any wisps, and it's ready for the table. It's amazing how a little bit of scattered terrain can really help your storyline. Okay, let's take it over the tabletop and see how she looks in action. So you can see how that fortification can play out in the game. And again, if you had multiple of these, you could build any kind of configuration. Thanks for watching Tabletop Dad. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the bell icon so you can get alerts to our new episodes. Enjoy your tabletop games, and God bless.